Yes,
The
sir.
boys are back, like your local SA derbies.
Cause hot dogs never tasted so good.
How are you, Chris?
Look, I'm great, man. How's it going, Quarters?
I'm good. It's one of those situations where last week we thought we were backing each other's teams last week, and the results seemed they went your way in going my way. In that the Lions won, I thought the Sharks would fare better, but that just wasn't the case. I
Mm.
think yeah, we can dive into your boys taking the trip to Cape Town.
Yeah, look, it was always going to be a tough one. We said it last week. You tipped them to do better. I think to be fair, the scoreline sort of flattered them at the end because the Stormers butchered a lot of opportunities themselves. You know, to build momentum. Credit to them for taking those opportunities, but a lot of it, it just underlined that the Sharks they're a bit lean, when it comes to their box not being there or the A-list box not being there, and they struggled, and we saw that the intensity of the Stormers was just too much, and I mean they couldn't even put together phases for 8 minutes
Yeah,
in the end there to try and win that game or
for
get
me, it's
themselves
not
at
even
least.
it's not even to win the game. It's that in the first half, that's what they couldn't do. They
Yeah.
couldn't put anything together in the first half. The Stormers
Yes.
really they disorganized the Sharks defense because of the
Yeah.
way that they play. You just you look like you met these guys in the car park. That's the kind of thing that was going on. Intercept pressure. They put pressure on the ball, and it's
Yeah.
the Stormers. The Stormers they play like that ball has energy. They play like that ball
Yeah.
has they come alive when they get the ball. Even on
Yes.
defense, they're looking for that ball. The way that Dion Free
Yeah.
plays, it's like that ball has
Yeah.
energy, and I think they take it to that next level.
Yeah. Yeah. They do, and I mean, with 3 rounds to go, look, it's quite evident and clear that our best chance again is definitely the Stormers, without dogging the other teams, but they've shown that they're just a different beast. When it comes to the local game, uh, the intensity, as I mentioned, the speed of play, the decision making with ball in hand, and their willingness to actually run with the ball. And what I like the most about them is particularly the running off the ball. A lot of that happens, guys drifting off passes, getting on the
Mm.
outside, beating the man before they even have the ball. And just from the Sharks, it's just being naive on defense, thinking
Yeah, I
uh,
think you're talking
the,
about that try for Blomekis where,
mm,
again, the point I want to go to even before that is that surprisingly, the scrum, it set that platform for them to do things like that.
yeah, yeah. Rightly so. Surprisingly, the Stormer scrummers, so they were better on the day. I think just in general their pack worked more cohesively, and they just right now they're the heavy hitters. With the Sharks, you can't really, especially in the pack. There's really nobody that you can pick out to say, uh, really, was put their hands up, even with the changes that came on. The only, for me, the shining lights was when they were able to generate that momentum. The backs showed what they have the potential to do. You know, and we just like you said it, we didn't see enough of that in the first half, and it's like, where was all of that in the first
But
half?
there's
You're not going to
for
keep the
me, I
Stormers to
feel
pieces.
yeah, I feel like Cohen Bosch only came alive in the second half.
Mm,
As much as it was down to the whole team drop passes, poor Fez Mbata getting caught behind the try line there. The whole first half was a
yeah,
mess, but I feel like second half, Cohen Bosch came more into the game, and then the backline started coming more into the game. You saw that Rowan Janssen van Rensburg try. He had
yeah,
been making meters, so it just makes you think like, if you can see this is effective, why are you only getting a try from this in the last quarter? Surely
yeah,
you can see this is
yeah,
working, so let's go in this
yeah.
direction.
Mm. No, true. And I mean, you've got Ron Hansen van Rensburg. I think you already know you've got him as a weapon. You have to give him front foot ball, and I think the Sharks are very guilty of being too static as well. A lot of the time, especially in the first half, no momentum, nothing. They just looked like they didn't have ideas. And yes, Bosch in the second half, he started taking a bit more control, but it was a little too late, and it wasn't enough. Because he wasn't putting his team in the right positions. They didn't help themselves with penalties and the errors that they were making as well. The Sharks, and again, if you look at that one try with Grant Williams, that box kick, it was fortunate, but you see, the thing is, it's now becoming almost every game where you're expecting at least one or two bad box kicks, from a Sharks scrum off. Let me put it like that, So yes, in that regard, but I mean, the guy made up for it, with that sizzler, of a try, that man had Sinatla, putting
that was the 2 feet. He put him on a plate. He served him up. That's an I'm going to the World Cup try.
Yeah, look, and despite the loss of the Sharks, okay, fine, character, because yes, they fought to get back in it, because the Stormers allowed them that opportunity and they took that. The problem is that they don't know at the moment they're struggling to just grab the game and impose themselves on other teams consistently. And that's the issue with the Sharks, especially when their box are not there. It looks like two different teams, honestly speaking. It doesn't look like it's one franchise.
I think it was John Smith that said that these guys know that they're the B team and they play like they're the B team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did say that. And that's the problem, is that you're not, even if you know that, okay, yes, I'm a lock and you've got Etzebeth and whatever, challenge. It's got to be challenge all around, especially from the more experienced guys. I think that's where I find it a bit disappointing, because you've got a guy like Rebran Grobler who's well traveled, but
I thought he played. I thought he really played. I thought he was one of the guys that put their hands up to consistently throughout.
Granted. But for me, it's just that nobody's following him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's putting in that effort, yes, for sure. But nobody's following him, and it's not like seismic impact in the game. If I can put it like that, where you can say that, okay, this is a game changer, a big difference maker. If I'm thinking Notcher as well. He was solid enough, good carries. Look, he's looking better.
But again, for me, he came alive in the second half.
Yeah. Fairs as well. Look, he had a nice steal early on, but then from there, to get those early 3 points for the Sharks, but then from there, it wasn't promising. So there's a lot that the Sharks need to work on and fix. And I mean, you've got a guy like Carl Usadi in there, and now he's leaving, so it's really, there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of setbacks for the Sharks. But again, like we said, that they need to make that B team closer to the A team, basically. That's what they need to get to.
You're talking about that kind of thing. You're talking about that kind of thing. Before we get to Buta, I want to talk about Fassi. We haven't even spoken about him, and he went off injured. Oh, yeah. And it seems like he's also one of those guys that it's not that same impact. Personally, and then you look at Buta, and I felt like Buta was another guy that I felt that was playing.
Yes, you're solid. So a lot of individuals, individually, there's guys that, they tick the boxes, but they couldn't put it together as a team for a complete performance as a team. And I think that's been the problem with the Sharks, especially ever since Neil Powell has taken over. 5 years as a new coach, he came in.
It went like this, then it went like that.
Yeah, so, and now it's sort of plateauing. And look, you can only hope that they can maybe try salvage in the last 3 rounds, but look, in the knockouts, anything can happen for sure, but we still keep the faith. But there's a lot of work that the Sharks need to do, just in my view, to get to that level, because as you mentioned, like guys like Fassi, the impact not the same. It's not as big. And then again now with injuries, they're creeping back, and then you get a guy like Buta. We mentioned it last week. He looks more like the guy. Not saying that Fasi's a bad player. Nobody's saying that. Buta just looks more like the guy, more assured, and very good there at 15. But again, if he's not there, there's problems because Buta easily can play in that A side. Van Rensburg can easily play in that A side. As that proverbial A side, as it were, guys like Cameron Wright, they they just need to find that door as well and just keep going, because yeah, look, that's a terrible cameo, yeah, terrible, and even just the game management from the 9 and 10 is particularly in that second half where you almost had the Stormers on the ropes and there's no composure, there's no direction.
Yeah.
Just didn't look like there was a sort of plan, a belief in that, okay, this is what we need to do, we can get there and score, yeah. So that's why I say even just the general leadership. You mentioned Hobla, yes, he played well, but nobody's following him. Doesn't look like Karen Bosch, yes, they made him captain, but is he really captain material? I don't think so. So it's just, yeah, there's a lot that the Sharks need to improve on, and I believe that they will. But yeah, for the time being, as Sharks fans, we're just gonna have to, just keep that plaster on for now. Maybe in the knockouts we get some magic, but yeah, it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, I think Werner Koch, rugby is getting in the way of Werner Koch's professional wrestling career. Because that guy
No,
always...
but listen. For me, look with that. For me, look, right. As much as, okay, yes, it's yellow because it was after the ball, and the thing is, I think what he saw when you see it on the replay, you didn't go around the neck. That was a legitimate attempt to make a clean out. The only problem there was that it was after the try was scored. And if you look at the actions of Dion Fury, he was going for the ball to play the ball. It wasn't necessary, from Werner Koch. And again, it's things like that they cost you games, and they can cost you big games, decision making and just keeping a level head. But yeah, WWE Africa, maybe they're in the shop window, maybe EFC, or it's EFC, né? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's talk Lions, Bulls, Lions.
Oh
The Nohamba game, as I like to call it,
yeah,
24
no, that
points.
was, yeah,
24 points for
yeah,
Nohamba, him re-announcing himself in a way. And I said it last week, if the Lions are to do anything, it's gonna start with him.
he's the guy, he's the spark.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And the thing is, from the beginning, you saw that he's been put on kicking duty. Decisions
Yeah,
were made. I back those
yeah.
decisions.
Well,
Even
no, sure.
going as far as even kicking for touch.
Yeah,
And I personally back it, and you can see it relieves pressure off Lombard as well.
yeah,
So he can
yeah,
just go and play. And there's
yeah,
moments where you can
yeah.
start to see that maybe the confidence is coming back there. So
Yes,
personally, I'm all for it. Lions, biggest thing the Lions did for me in this game was that they caused disruptions to the Bulls at set piece,
yeah.
at the breakdown, and the Bulls' discipline. They normally fall under that whistle away from home, but in this one, it's like they're falling under that whistle at home. And the biggest thing for me is that I feel that Jake White is he's talking, and it's just going in one ear and out the other. I think he's
Yeah.
reached that point where guys just, you're talking, but no words are.
Yeah, it just seems like he's not getting the right response from his team, at the moment. Yes, you can see that there's guys individually where there's guys that are stepping up. You see Van Staden's game has definitely improved in the last couple of games, like Ulrich Loh, you could see he was playing like, he has a chip on his shoulder. It's just, for me, again, it's the Bulls, no heavy hitters really, that you can say, and again, it starts it in the pack for me, and also it's just, you have to give credit to the Lions. I kind of saw it coming in terms of the Lions' attitude and also that the geography factor on defense, because you saw in the opening minutes those exchanges there, that that just from seeing that, you saw that the Lions were up for this, and they were not going to just roll over for the Bulls. They had to work hard, take their opportunities, take their moments, and they did. They did that brilliantly. And quite rightly, you pointed out, Lombard looked like a free man. He's taking it to the line, getting those behind the back passes out, getting guys into space, and the Lions almost recapturing that Lions of old and cutting the Bulls apart, beating them with speed out wide. So look, there's nothing more to say for the Lions, but you just hope that they can keep it going. Because yeah, they need it definitely. But then with the Bulls, like I said, the Bulls are not the same. The Bulls they don't have that thing anymore. And you mentioned it. Maybe it's going in one ear, going out the other, and maybe it's a fresh voice that's needed. I'm not saying that he should be sacked as director of rugby. I think he's put in some good structures, but I think there is a need for maybe a fresh outlook in terms of saying, okay, let him be the director of rugby, but let him oversee the head coach, in that respect. Because it's not like they can't. It's not like they don't have the personnel. They do. It's just
they have the personnel. Even when you see Similani play, the problem now with Similani playing is Similani looks like he looked at the Lions, where it's like he's playing to get out. Some of these guys, it doesn't. It's 1-1-1-1. It's guys having those individual performances, but I don't know. That's like you say. I think maybe they need fresh voices there. So I definitely agree there.
Yeah, but I honestly, I just like the Lions, how they played, because you started seeing, when you're seeing this interchanging passing between props, you've got in Club and you play JP Smith, that's the kind of stuff that you used to see with your Dreas and them back then.
Even when Nohamba is getting it at first receiver, there's times when Nohamba is getting it at first receiver, and then he's passing it out to Lombard, who's now like inside center position, but he's drifted wider even. And then it's just it's taking advantage of narrow defenses out wide. Even Marius Lowe, the captaincy for Marius Lowe, it seems he's a changed man. The responsibility has changed him.
He is a changed man, and I think he's just getting better. I mean, even when he was at the Sharks, it's not like he was bad, but he wasn't like there, but you're solid enough, to give you some good.
The problem is you can see he used to play flank. That's when he's bad. When you can see this guy used to play flank.
Yeah. But I mean, look, you called it Nohamba the catalyst. At the end of the day, but also that pack of the Lions, I think they worked hard for each other, to get themselves into that position, and just the general attitude of the Lions. It was expected. Now, obviously, look, there's I think a break this week, coming back next week or in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a matter of, can they now pick it up and just finish the season strong, with something to hold on to say, okay, listen, we can do something. I think that's really it, because you look around, they use their weapons out wide. They're using them wisely. They're finding space. They like you mentioned with Nohamba being able to shift up. There's sort of little nuances to their game that they're adding there to try catch teams off, and they worked. Because the Bulls didn't expect that Lions team or that sort of attitude from the Lions. I don't believe that they did. And
even the subs, when the subs came on, they were still able to lay the platform well enough. They were still able to get penalties and that kind of thing. And I also feel like even that pressure on the scoreboard is also something that the Lions need to do more. And I think also, again, having a reliable kicker, it's doing wonders. It's doing wonders for the boys.
It makes a difference having that reliable kicker. And it's not like the Bulls. The Bulls, when they had their chances, you could see that okay, look, they've got it's just that they stale right now. They just need a bit of injection. And I don't think it's more personnel. I just think it's just fresh voices, honestly, from a coaching perspective, or just a different perspective. And they can find themselves back on track. And of course, they'll have their box back, their attacking box, but they need to also, I think they need to beef up their pack. They need to get some serious guys, not in a bad way, but especially in the locking position. Yeah, I feel that Nokia is sort of regressed a little bit, as well.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit those heights.
Is he on
And that's why I
fraud
say
watch?
Not yet. Not yet. I'll still give him a chance. Because he's still a youngster, so give them a chance, but if I was them, I'd honestly be looking more within than anything, to sort out their issues.
Yeah, I think Lions' only thing, Q and Horn positioning at fullback, I think he was caught out for 2 of those tries. But I mean, one of them was also Novuka with the through ball. So
oh yeah,
I don't know.
Oh
I don't know
Jesus, not
if you
forget
can
about that.
I don't know if you can
Hey.
even be too hard on him with that.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
Look, I think for me is that the past weekend just went as expected. It's good to see that the Lions, they still have the fight. There's a lot of work to do for the Sharks. And the Bulls, look, Sharks, Bulls, they still have a shot, but look, we as South Africans, we all need to put our energy really towards the Stormers when it comes to after the 3 rounds. But we'll see how it goes. Currie Cup's coming up.
That's good. Even I'm excited for a Currie Cup, but even these fixtures when we come back, like you see, it's Leinster versus Stormers. It's gonna be a final type of a game.
Yeah.
Benetton versus Lions. That's a chance for Lions to push on. Sharks Scarlets.
Yes.
It's a chance for them to get the win. Ulster Bulls. It's a chance again to prove that you are. Yeah. So
yes.
I feel like the fixtures coming up. It'll be good to have the week off, and then those are good fixtures to go back to.
There's still a chance for everybody, all of our teams, except for the Lions, but but still the chance is there for them to build onto something, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, Dummy Switch Pod. Thanks for watching.